I got my lawyer hitting the spliff. What's up?
Don't flip, my nigga. What are you doing?
Grandpa just hit the blunt. It's 420. It's only right.
I'm gonna get fucked up tonight.
Alan outside smoking that sour right now, nigga.
My cough is not from the virus.
Yo, you not smoking in that Zod, nigga. You bugging, nigga.
We going stupid, nigga. You know we out here, nigga, with a butt at. Pass us plan! Pass us plan!
Coming from a galaxy near you, this is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
Welcome to Brothers in Brews, I guess. Yeah.
I hope that wasn't legalization of marijuana spot.
Hey, so that one dude there in his freaking postal service outfit, and I'm like, what are you doing, man?
No, it's weird. The marijuana laws are so weird in this country now, Doug, because that's from New York City, and I guess it's legal there.
Yeah, they have it legal for even small amounts, so you can carry around. I believe we have a guest that maybe can shed some light in there because they live there, but maybe.
I hope, because that old lady was ready to get down.
Man, she was like, I'm getting fucked up. And I'm like, whoa. All right.
Man, and I saw some too. Like the majority of America is pro marijuana, and that's one of the first times ever in our lifetime that it's been that way. So I guess people are just having fun. But yeah, welcome to Brothers and Booze. We got a fun guest. He's actually at home, so that's going to be making news. Because he's never at home. If you ever check his social media, the man is always somewhere and somewhere cool. And speaking of something cool, Doug, real quick, I have this box of chocolates. Ooh. It's I have 4 of them, so I'm going to send you one. I keep saying I'm going to send you one. It's a 7.2 Doppelbock chocolate. It has nice chocolate notes, not overpowering. Yeah, and Zach is wondering about your wall art.
Yeah, I would like to point out that is my wife who made that, so I can change it out. I have plenty to change it out to. I just really like that one. So, yeah.
So, no, we don't need your little Kickstarter campaign, Zach.
Yeah. Also, Daniel answered our question about if you can do that legally in New York City. So, yeah.
Oh, and out in the open like that? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's where you would go, but to each their own, right?
Well, they did what they were going to do, and they did it. And they did it New York style too. That was not great. To be rude to y'all, but that's what I will call New York style. So, Doug, what do you have in your glass tonight?
So I'm starting with an NA beer. Our guest tonight is a non-drinker of alcohol. But this one I don't think I've had in the show. It's Partake's Blonde.
So you're being peer pressured to not drink?
No, not at all. I just wanted to, I had a drink at dinner. I had a photo age lager, which was good. And then after it warmed up a bit, it was like super, super, super photo. So I was like, not right. Stop there. But then I just decided I'm going to have 2 more drinks. And this one, I'll just start off with an NA. So.
And our guest is he's not a pusher of any thing besides fatherhood and soccer and cool things like that. But like traveling with his family, and so yeah. I just wanted to make fun of you more than anything, Doug.
That's all right. And my dirty glass with all the bubbles on the outside as usual. So per the usual. So
yeah, I can definitely make fun of you, dirty ass beer glasses.
As like I said, whatever. I'm not judging a beer contest, so whatever.
I'm with you, man. Sweating a little shit. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, but that got a nice little color to it, right?
Yeah, and it's a sexy glass, so you get points for that.
Yeah. Well, it's a Pilsner glass, but sort of, because it's weird. I don't know. Does that count as Pilsner if it's not like straight up and down? But whatever. So this is basically it's a non-alcoholic malt beverage. Wow, I didn't realize that. But it's supposed to be like golden blonde ale. So we'll see how this goes.
All right. Yeah, we have plenty of non-drinkers or people who don't drink on the stream, so we love that diversity in all areas. Zach just got caught.
Hey, that's the slow burn, Zach, to get you.
Right. Took a little bit of a build up, but bam, we got him, Doug.
Got him.
Man, got him. Right. If someone say got him. So, anywho, Doug, without further ado, we don't have any videos tonight. We just got a great guest. So we are, I don't know if you want to speak to it, but one thing I did see is that your tonight's guest, our friend Jeff Bogle, was on your podcast about a year and a couple months ago, January 2021. Look, I did my research, Doug.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah. Do you want to do a little quick summation of that? So we can get a senseless plug in here for your podcast?
Sure. Back apparently in January 2021, which seems like both 5 years ago and 5 months ago, Jeff was on our podcast, and he just talked a lot about, that's a parental advisory podcast. So it's talking a lot about parenting and Jeff had some changes going on in his life at that point, just talking about going through that stuff. And talking about stanchion, which we will definitely talk about tonight, which is his zine that he does, which is, I can't freaking recommend that enough. I can't wait to talk to him about it because it's a phenomenal little zine that in print, and you should get it because it's not expensive and you get some amazing artwork and artists in it, including Jeff, who is a fucking great artist himself.
He's a brilliant writer, in my opinion. That's my opinion.
Agreed.
And what's up with your podcast while we're here? Are y'all got any new ones coming out, or y'all have one, or
no? We haven't.
What's going on?
Well, we haven't because we've had some other, as usual. It's sports season for different varieties for all of our kids. So like we haven't had a chance. So track for us and for him at softball.
Hoops, right?
Hoops is over, but he and I shoot all the time on weekends. So yeah, we still do that. But yeah, so we. It's a good reminder. I should actually talk to Jay and be like, hey, man, we need to actually, we put out 2 episodes that did really well. We need to get back on that horse and be, unfortunately, it's been hard to be a little bit consistent on that. So that's on us. But hopefully.
Oh, that's cool. So, but you have 2 relatively new ones, though, is my point.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, and y'all can find that anywhere you find
any of your podcast apps.
But episode, episode 4, I think that's season 2. Y'all's, right?
Yep, that would be correct.
Yep. Episode 4, season 2, you'll find Jeff Bogle, and you'll also find Jeff Bogle right here, right now. That blogger, author of all kinds of genres, whether it be what do we got? So that's what you just described is that's a physical magazine, right?
Yep. That's
so
correct.
he's the senior editor of all that, the master.
The
mastermind behind it, right? He also does family. What is this? I'm sorry, I gotta get this right. He writes on Family Vacation Lists, and I'll show that in a little bit. He's the author of at least 2 books that I know of. He's Soccer Head, Traveling Guy. There's something else I'm missing too, because this guy does every damn thing.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that you wonder, like, how does he do it all? Because he's so freaking busy.
Right. So we're gonna get to that work, family, marriage balance too. But without further ado, I believe he's due this long, elongated introduction because he's just so multifaceted. It's our friend, Jeff Bogle.
That was so nice. Thank you, guys. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to see you, sir.
Great to have you after
Finally.
so many mishaps we've had.
Yeah.
So we have worked hard to get you in that seat, and now you're sick.
I am. I'm a little under the weather. It's all good. I just got sick traveling, just burying myself into the ground, just trying to make a living and have fun. And regret nothing. I just kind of do it all, and the old adage, like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's kind of my motto. I just keep going and going and going. But it caught up with me. Caught up with me a couple days ago.
It does. Make sure you seem to be. I know you personally, but not that personal. If that makes sense. Like not like everyday personal.
Yeah, we've never like made out or anything, so we're not.
Yeah, no, not yet. But you know, you're leaving the door open, so that's good.
The night is young.
But I feel that you're not one who likes to rest or who feels that you have to be doing something all the time. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
No,
I'll let you speak to that.
No, I think you're right. I honestly don't know if I know how to rest. I'm 100% my mother's son, who like literally she doesn't sit down. If she sits down, it's for like 10 seconds, and then she realizes there's something she should be doing, and she gets up and does it. And I like to say I'm a watered down version of her. I can be lazy. But I don't even enjoy it because the whole time I'm like the self-loathing for being lazy kind of like cancels out the enjoyment of doing nothing. There is one.
You are speaking my language.
What's that?
You're speaking my language there. Yeah.
There is one exception to that though, and that is when and this is why I love soccer so much that you alluded to. When I'm watching soccer live in person, it's the only time that I like shut down and for 2 hours I just focus on what's happening in front of me, and I don't like run sentences through my head. I don't think about how I would describe this to somebody in a story, which is why a lot of times people are like, "Oh, you should write about soccer," and I'm like, "That's the last thing I want to do." It's the one bastion of pure zen that kind of exists in my life. So,
and while we're here, I have to jump in on this. I was going to let Doug have the first one, but I got to jump in.
No, you go.
Where did your soccer? If everybody follows Jeff, they know he loves soccer. I won't get into the specifics, but I know you definitely traveled for soccer. Where did your love of soccer come? Was this something that you played when you were a kid? Is this an adult thing? Is this a kid? Do you always had it? What was going on?
So I did play. I was a goalie. I was a keeper when I was a child. And I was a keeper because the keepers didn't run a lot. I was a very lazy, fat little boy. And so I was like, oh, I can stand in the net. That's cool. But then, other sports, other more American sports in the 80s and 90s kind of took over. But then in 2010, so I'm going to do the potted version of this. In 2010, I hurt myself very badly doing yard work, and realized and discovered that I had degenerative back condition. And I was sort of like semi-paralyzed, I guess, for a couple weeks. And it was right during the 2010 Football World Cup from South Africa. And ESPN had the digital rights to it, which meant in South Africa, I live on the East Coast of the United States. So it was on at like 6, 7 in the morning. And I was just bedbound for weeks in conjunction with this tournament. And I'm like, I'll watch something. Like, I don't even care what it is. And I just completely fell in love with it at that time. Just fell in love with the pageantry of it. The I'll say nationalism. I don't mean it that way. But the passion of the individual countries. And then found my way to club football, like the football that exists and happens all year round, not just every 4 years at the World Cup. And then it just grew and grew and grew from there. And I've always been an Anglophile and a Europhile. So like finding my way to English football when NBC got the rights at some point in the last 12 years and did such a good job presenting the Premier League from England. And it just made it so accessible. And the storytelling and the people, the characters, and the rise of podcasts and the ability to find out about more of it. It just all kind of coalesced over the last dozen years, and I like to call it my midlife crisis. It's my healthy. It's what I spend my money on. I travel all over the United States. I'm not a snob in that I don't watch American soccer. I do. I've been to most of the MLS football grounds to see matches, but England is where my heart is.
You follow your local soccer team, all right?
Oh, I
got that.
definitely do.
Yeah, you do, big time. So
I'm going
no one can ever say
tomorrow.
you for that.
I'm going.
Yeah, no one can ever say you for that.
And as when you say hometown, they're the Philadelphia Union. I now live in New York City, but I love the Philadelphia Union.
Right.
And I'm going again tomorrow. I think I've seen more matches since I moved to New York, which is not economical, especially with gas like $5 a gallon. But yeah, I absolutely love them. I love everything about them. The people, they stand for what's right. Like as an organization, they're not afraid to speak up. They're wonderful. They're an easy team to root for, and they're darn good too. So.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Can I ask a question? What is the actual mascot for the Philadelphia Union? Because what is?
Oh, it's a snake. Fang.
Fang.
PH. Everything in Philly. Every F sound in Philly is a PH. So
Philly fanatic, all that jazz.
yeah. So
Right,
yeah, Fang is a snake, like the join or die kind of flags. That's kind of the motto. So it's a snake.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I'm just curious.
Gotcha.
That's out of my wheelhouse. So.
That doesn't really count as a question, Doug. So you go.
But you joked that I'm home. So yeah, I just got back from London. So pre-COVID, I would go once or twice a year to England and rent a car by myself and just like zigzag all over the country, watching matches, trying to line it up where I could see a match every day or every night. And in between, during the day, I would just drive to different football grounds. I mean, there are 92 professional. England is not a big country. There are 92 professional football clubs in England. And below that, that's the top 4 divisions. The pyramid of English football is 9 divisions big. So there are hundreds and hundreds of football clubs, and they all have their own stadium/ground/patches of dirt, goalpost. And I love to go see them and peer through the gates and try to like look at the grass. On this trip, it occurred to me, maybe I just like a nice lawn. Like maybe that's my thing, because I like get so excited, like a kid seeing an airplane take off or something, when I show up and first see the grass, especially if it's under the lights or during the day with like a big cloudy blue sky. There's something about the sky. It's like lower to the ground in England or something. It's just so dramatic. Well, you know, Doug, you love Scotland, and that's all
Yes, I do.
the same family. There's just something about seeing that dirt, that grass, that not the grass that was on the pre-show reel.
Some people like that too.
Some people get giddy as a child watching a plane take off for that.
Right. Wow. Well, that's part of, and I think the soccer plays into one of your other loves, which is the traveling.
Yeah.
And that, those two pretty much go hand in hand there, and you built them into it. But
it's my profession too. So like I've just kind of become a travel writer over the years.
And how did that go during COVID?
Yeah, so pre-COVID, I get the feeling a lot of people were jealous of like what I've kind of turned dad blogging into. No one was jealous of a travel writer during COVID because the chances of making money to write stories about travel when literally nobody could travel, it just didn't exist. So I thankfully kind of hung on. I took on some copywriting gigs. I just kind of cobbled together, freelancers. There's a saying, freelancers always say yes. And anything that I could do to make a few bucks, that makes me sound like I'm a gigolo. Anything I could do in the right,
maybe.
Yeah. I'm listening to offer. You want to write a number on a
slide it over.
Right.
No, yeah, like anything I could do to kind of keep it together, keep the walls, keep the lights on, I guess, until travel opened up again. And thankfully I was able to do that. And hey, Facebook user, what's up, Jeff?
That was Victor Aragon.
Oh, hey, Victor. And then travel opened up again last summer, and so it was a couple months after I fulfilled my childhood dream of moving to New York, the Village in New York. And people joke now, like I have like the world's most expensive used storage space because I moved here and I'm never here. I moved here and have a more annoying commute to the airport because getting there is an absolute nightmare.
But Jeff, how did you weigh? Again, I know you a little bit, and I know that you are a science-based person. I know that I mean, you wore your mask when you needed to, where you needed to.
Yep.
How did you weigh your job, which was traveling blogger, with the risk of traveling? How fearful were you out there, stepping out there again? Were you fearful? Or
No,
were
I
you just
wasn't
ready to
fearful.
go, or what was going on?
Yeah, I wasn't fearful at all, to be honest with you. I mean, like just using some reason, like COVID's everywhere, right? So I could stay here and be surrounded by however many million people live on the island of Manhattan, or I could go somewhere else where people also have COVID there. And like, it kind of got to the point where I'm like, what's the difference? Like we were vaccinated. We were wearing our masks, and I'm like, I could get it anywhere. Like millions of people died hunkering down, trying to do the right thing. So I'm like, I gotta go. Like not only just personally to scratch that itch, and like I feel fulfilled, seeing the world, meeting different people, learning cultures and language and food. But it's also I need to keep working. Like people. What's that?
You got bills to pay. You got girls. You got right.
I had bills to pay and a used storage / apartment to pay for, and so the Fodors and other outlets were like, people are searching travel again, and we want travel stories, and it came back hard and fast, and so it really worked out. Like in my benefit, like the past almost a year now since travel like really opened up, like European travel and international stuff. Pre-Omicron, so like the first wave of opening, when things seemed like they were getting better before they got worse again and better. Like I was able to travel to some great places, take my kids to great places, and tell stories from that for new outlets that I'd never written for before, because maybe some travel bloggers stopped. Maybe the amount of us got less because people like needed to find steady paying jobs, or maybe it's just like I was just the one that was going out there and one of the people going out and doing the stuff. So I had the stories to tell and the photographs to prove it. And so yeah, it worked out, and I stayed COVID free up until the time where masks became optional, and then I got lazy with it, and I got it. So 2 years, and I traveled like before vaccinations too. I did a few things and was out there, and like 7 cruises, and I can't even count the number of flights, concerts and subways and metros, and didn't get it until I took my mask off. And I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like I'm a true idiot. Why did I do that? And now I'm sick again because I spent 2 weeks in London without wearing a mask on buses and I didn't learn anything apparently. I don't have COVID again, but I got like old fashioned illness.
Crud, yeah, old fashioned crud.
Yeah, the crud.
The crud.
The crud. Yeah. So this is something that you have that Jeff is an anti-masker. Look at Zach.
I just am for personal freedom, Zach. That's all I'm about.
Freedom.
Oh shit! Go on, Zach.
Well, what I was gonna say before Zach so adeptly interrupted.
Hijack the point. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's Zach though.
That's Zach, right?
But one of the things that I know that's been a carryover since you and I have known each other quite a few years, thanks to dad blogging, and you've always been very big on the idea of storytelling and understand and getting to hear people's stories too. It wasn't just you telling your story. You've always had an ear to tell me your story. What's this? What what do you think? What's your experience? How did it what was going on when you were in this experience? I I do like. I don't get to read as much of your travel stuff as I would like, but I've read a boatload of your other stuff, and
Thank you.
I think the storytelling stuff is. I wouldn't say it's a lost art. I think there's plenty of people that can tell
Oh, yeah.
stories. I think there's people who can do it. It's just there's people that just maybe don't know they can, or where like how do you get people to encourage someone to be able to share their story if they don't believe that their story is worthwhile, even though almost every story in some
It's
way
worthwhile, yeah.
has some worthwhile piece to it. So how do you?
Totally.
I don't know. Like you run a zine, you get stories.
I do.
But how do you get to talk to? How do you get people who don't consider themselves storytellers actually tell you stories?
Well, I mean, it's funny, and I don't know if you intended this, but like the whole idea of my first book, the guided journal, 100 Questions for Dad, was kind of all about that. It was to help guys, but dads specifically, but convince them that their story, that they have one, and that it's worth telling and documenting. And so I guess to answer your question, it's listening and asking questions and caring about the answers. So we live in a world where everybody is unfortunately sharing their opinion of everything all the time. Like you need to have a take, an opinion, and distribute that without people's consent to hear it all the time. And what's missing is the listening, is the probing and the thoughtfulness of like, where do you come from? What do you believe in? Where have you been? What has impacted you? What do you love? Why do you love it? One of the best parts of my relationship with my current and final wife.
That sounded almost morbid. My final wife.
Well, if I just say current wife, it leaves the door open that there might be another one. Which there won't be.
Like a final boss in a video game.
Yeah, I've got to beat the final wife to win the game. So when we first met, like just standing back, this was less listening but more observing. Like when we would first spend time together, and books are her life and was her vocation as a store manager for Barnes & Noble for many, many, many years. When we would go to bookstores, independent ones, chain ones, all of them, she just watching her from a distance light up. Like I could tell that she has a relationship, and there's stories. I mean, there's stories in the books, but there's stories about her relationship with these particular books that she was carrying around. And I still remember, I mean, we were together for like a couple of weeks, and I'm like, she was carrying around so many books and like talking to herself. I probably should have run at that moment, but I didn't. But I was like, are you buying all those? She's like, no, I have them already. I'm like, why are you carrying them around? She's like, I just want them near me. I love them. These are some of my favorites. And as I'm walking around the bookstore, I just want them near me. And I find that, and I still find it. We were in some of the best bookstores in London, and she still does it, and it's still absolutely adorable the way she beams. And so, just like that's her story, and I was present for it. You know, I was open to like observing it, hearing it, experiencing it. Whatever verb you want to use for your particular situation, but and that's just important, just to be present and aware of other people's, not necessarily their hot takes, but their life and what matters most to them and what has shaped people that they've become or are still becoming.
So one of the things that you wanted to do during the pandemic, I believe, was start a magazine.
Yeah. So
I'm sure it was something that was you were working up towards it before.
No.
Right?
No.
So, wow. Okay. So during the pandemic, Jeff needs something else to do. So Jeff starts this, or
yeah.
Where does that come from?
So one of the things I did when travel writing wasn't happening, I was delivering toys. So there's a great independent toy store that my oldest daughter works at. And they couldn't open their doors, but they were taking online orders and delivering to the local community. and I'm buddies with the owner, and so he's like, "Hey, do you want to deliver toys for me?" And I'm like, "Absolutely!" Like, put on some music, some podcasts. My wife and I, my then partner, we weren't married at the time, but we just drove around delivering toys. And one day, I was by myself. This day, it just occurred to me. I'm like, I couldn't write, so like it was June. The pandemic started in America in like what, mid-March.
March, yeah.
And so it was a very scary. I mean, it's still scary, but it was like the unknown, and I couldn't. I had no creativity. I had no work. I had no creative work. I had no creativity to tell just like write fiction or anything. And so I could never play music. This is related. Just bear with me. I could never play music, but music changed my life when I was a kid. And so I started booking shows, concerts in Philly, and I started a record label to be involved, to kind of pay it forward. The impact that art form had on me. So as I'm driving around, I'm like, it just out of nowhere, I'm like, I should start a magazine. Like, I can't write, but other people can. And I'm a contrarian too. So I'm like, if you tell me that print's dead, let's start a print mail order only thing and see what we can do. And I looked it up. I looked it up, like how much it was to make them. I'm like, yeah, like whatever. Like, let's spend some money, even though I'm not making anything, and see and try to make something beautiful. It's like if you could just boil Jeff Bogle down into a nutshell, it's that moment, like something spontaneous, very little thought into it. Initially, I mean, I did research to find a printer and like try to figure out to make it beautiful, and I reached out to writers that I knew, like Doug, who had published stuff previously, but like in internet years, that those pieces were like long since kind of, dormant or dead. I'm like, hey, for the first issue, can I like reprint some of this stuff? Because I couldn't pay contributors. I do now, but I couldn't for the first 2 issues. And yeah, I just did it and started a Twitter account for it and an Instagram, and just tried to like tap into like literary Twitter to see if anybody would be interested in buying it or submitting pieces of work to it. And it really grew. Like a year ago, I think I had like 200 Twitter followers, and now I have 3,500. At some point, I think next year it's going to overtake OWTK. And so issue 7 just came out last month, and I was only open for submissions. So previously, thanks for plugging that, Doug. When I first started it, I'm like, I'm just going to always be open for submissions. If writers want to send work in, that's great. I quickly realized that's a nightmare.
That is a bad idea, Jeff.
Yeah. So that changed very quickly. And now, so for issue 7, I was open for 4 days. And I received over 1,000 pieces of writing to consider. And people think like I'm a team, like, oh, dear editors or whatever. I'm like, that's just me trying to do my regular job, trying to travel, trying to be a husband and a dad, and read through all this stuff. But I love it. I mean, I wouldn't change it for the world. I've learned some stuff. I'm going to open for like poetry, have a separate little window, and prose to try to like compartmentalize myself. Like what I'm reading, I like to read the same thing in like a silo and make decisions about that. So, but yeah, it's gone really well. Like, it pays for itself, which is my only goal in anything in life, is just to break even. And it does that. The one issue pays for the next, and that's cool. And people like it, and it's beautiful. I mean, I'm biased, but it's a nice thing to hold. It's like museum quality paper, and the storytelling, the writers that are submitting to me now are just outrageously good. Like, this was the first issue that doesn't have any of my writing. I used to always include it because like I didn't have to pay myself, so it's an easy way to fill up some pages without incurring more cost.
Right.
But this issue was so the submissions. I mean, I turned down like 1,000 pieces of writing. There's 21 pieces in this issue, so I said no to 979 ish pieces of writing, hundreds of which were incredible. You could have made 10 other stanchion issues from just the stuff I said no to, and it would have been just as good. But It's been a fun project that was born again out of the need to create something. So the record label, I did all the artwork and find the label, the cover, the sleeves of the vinyl, and even though I couldn't play the music, it was a creative outlet. And this has been equally creative to design it and make it and work with people and get it into bookstores, and it's been thrilling. What's even better is like, so the people who are in it, from 17-year-olds to 73-year-olds, non-binary, trans, men, women, Singapore, South Africa, Peru, or I don't think I had Peru, somewhere in South Africa or South America.
Yeah.
I can't remember what country, but yeah, and like it's global. There's writers, everyone. I just want to give a voice to people and to kind of, even though I'm technically a gatekeeper now because I say no, I have to say no a lot, to not say no maybe for the same reasons a traditional publishing world would say no. Like I say on my thing, like I don't. No matter who you love, what you look like, where you're from, you have a home. Stanchion family is ready to embrace you all, as long as you can write or take photos or do collage art or illustrations. There's visual art in Stanchion as well. Most of it, my photography. Again, it's a good way to fill up space without paying people.
Sure.
Eventually, I'm going to run out of all of my own material. But the cover of 7 is my photo, and that my wife is absolutely in love with that photo. That was like a last-minute switch. There was a different cover about 3 days before I went to the printer. I'm like, I think I'm going to switch it, and oh man, it's so pretty.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
I got it, and I remember I'd actually talked to you about it, and you're like, "This is the biggest issue I've ever done."
It is. I had to reorder. A second printing just arrived yesterday. I sold out of the first 200 copies in 3 weeks, which was 200 was already the most I'd ever ordered of an issue, and it sold out in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's I guess a good problem to have.
It is. It is. The problem is, my wife Lorelai was like, "You should order 250," and I'm like, "Nah." 3 weeks later. So I mean, the only difference, it's just the extra shipping. The price actually doesn't scale. Like whether it's the per issue price is the same minus the shipping cost. So that's the only. It was like an extra $17 to ship 50 more copies, but I should have listened to my wife.
Is that the lesson to be learned here?
Famous last words.
That's what she just said. That's what she just said from the other room. Famous last words.
Yeah. So I read the issue obviously because I read them when I get them because I love all the stuff. There is one in there that I have to just shout out because I am not a poetry person. I'm not at all a poetry person. And the one piece isn't, I wouldn't say it's technically poetry, but it's the one that says "Come eat, come drink."
Oh yeah,
and it's short.
Yeah,
but man, it's something. That is like you read that and you just sit with it for a little bit. It's one of those kind of things that, like for me, I read it and I was like, "Oof," because that I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it yet, but man, get yourself an issue and then just read that because
it's powerful.
Yeah, and not like powerful, like you go, "Oh, well, it's really profound." It is, but not like in your face.
No,
this is going to be really deep. Yeah, it's simple but really deep. I like it.
That's I think if I remember her name correctly, Shishka Dita. I think she's in South Africa. I think that's the South Africa I mentioned.
Yep.
If I remember the address that I mailed that to.
Yep, Shishka Dita, you are correct. So that one was really, like I said, it's 2 pages, and it's just oof.
That is, she submitted that during the issue 6 window, and I ran out of room for it, and I asked her if she would mind if I hold on. I loved it, but I'm like, I ran out of space, and she let me hold on to it for 3 more months, and I'm really glad she did because it is lovely.
Man.
I wanted to say something else about that. But thank you for letting me talk about Stanchion so much. It is truly truly a passion project that it's so few things in print exist. I mean, like, so I got word last month that Parents Magazine, which I wrote for in a couple of issues, I thought it was going to be my big travel writing break. In print, back-to-back issues, like 2-page spreads in Parents, like the Parents Magazine.
Yeah.
The one that's traditionally only focused towards moms, but they call themselves parents. That one. But they let me write a real life dad. And
I'm a real dad.
I'm a real boy.
Over here, look. Right.
And it those 2 issues that it came out in on newsstands, travel again, February and March of 2020. So everybody gets those, be like, all these great travel ideas. No one can go anywhere. That was not the big travel writing break. I thought it was going to be nothing happened from that. And not an invitation, not another writing job, nothing. And I just found out last month that Parents Magazine folded, just completely kaput, like many other print magazines. And so, yeah, the contrarian in me loves that I started something print. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to scale to be in like every doctor's office, like those kind of magazines, or sell ads. There's no ads that will ever be in Stanchion. It pays for itself, and I'm able to pay contributors just from the people who so kindly take a chance on ordering it, and that's how it will always remain. But I wanted to make a joke at the beginning of this podcast, at the beginning of this show. This is the most alcoholic week of my life because I'm on the Brothers and Booze show. And 2 days ago, my debut in Wine Enthusiast magazine. My debut.
Oh, that's right. But it was about non-alcoholic cocktails.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was not out there like sampling like Riesling and offering my opinion on them.
Right.
No, I pitched them. I met a writer. So here's a sentence. I was on a private yacht in Croatia last fall, and a $100,000 a week super yacht. Me and some Russian oligarchs were just hanging out, kicking it, like we do. And no, it was a press trip on this ridiculous yacht. And I met a writer from Kansas City. Her name's Rebecca. She's lovely, and she writes for Wine Enthusiast. And Lorelai and I and her like hit it off. We became friendly, and I was telling her this idea one day. I'm like, I've always wanted to write as a non-drinker. It's so awkward to live in a world where adults drink, and most adults assume every other adult drinks. Mm-hmm. And the way servers and party hosts and everyone pushes alcohol on me. Mm-hmm. And it's so uncomfortable. I mean, I don't drink because I have a problem, but they don't know that. And like people are always like, come on, just one. I'm like, do you know how dangerous that is? You don't know who you're talking to. And I'm offended for the people who would be in trouble by that, with that push. Get away from me. So I'm like, I want to write something that kind of helps people understand that there are adults that don't drink, and that there are ways to like bring us into a party or bring us into a situation where it's not weird. And so she's like, oh, you should totally pitch my editor. I think that's a great idea. She so kindly just not every writer does this. I do, but not everyone does. Like, she just made an email introduction, and I pitched it, and they bought it, and I wrote it, and it was published this past week. And it's hopefully will help people like figure out how to accommodate for folks like me. And it dovetails perfectly. Have you heard of like Sober Curious, this like movement with zero proof cocktails, or mocktails as they're sometimes called? And like non-alcohol NA beers have been around for a while, and I understand usually, or in the old days, like pretty terrible. But like there's NA wines and spirits and like tons of stuff and there's a whole movement of like millennial people who are just like, for money reasons or health reasons, maybe we'll have one drink and then switch to zero proof stuff.
Yes.
Or not at all. None at all.
Yes. So perfect segue. Wonderful. I wanted to talk to you about this, but so first of all, to address your question, Doug and I, we have a friend named Matt Strain. You might know him, you might not. He's definitely in He's a board member of the At Home Dad Network.
Oh, okay.
Long story short, he's been on our show a couple times, and he gets one of the highest engagements ever talking about NA beer. Now, Matt is a recovering alcoholic, and he's open about it, and he talks about it. But he also talks about how the industry now has just boomed into this big, flavorful, wonderful thing, and it's a trend. And one of the funny things about it, Doug and I know this, one of the things about the pandemic was that everybody's like, oh, what are we going to do all day? Drink. And everybody talks about the rise of alcohol drinking during the pandemic. But no one wants to talk about the rise of non-alcoholic beer during the pandemic because there's a certain level of people who don't want to drink all day. I know it's hard to believe, Jeff, because you're one of them. But like, there, I think, I don't want to talk down on people because I understand, those initial first months of the pandemic were scary for all of us.
Yeah.
Everybody was at home. There was almost not, I understand if you're going to have a couple of drinks during the day. And that was at the time too, when no one was really working. You were just sent home and you just had, to do. But Doug and I have seen over these pandemic years, because that's what we almost started, was the pandemic, or a little bit we started before that. But my point is that we've seen this rise of people drinking non-alcoholic beers. We've embraced it. Obviously, Doug loves it. We love it. Yes, our name is Brothers and Booze, but we are no pushers of booze. We don't want to push booze. We just have booze on a Friday evening, Jeff, and that's why, really, and at this point of our ages and what we've been through in the past year, Doug and I really only drink on Fridays now. But that's another side. But my point is that the pandemic has risen this, non-alcoholic people trying to be smart about it, combined with the millennials who are, I think we're told they're doing all this fixed stuff less. And by fixed stuff, I mean smoking, drinking. They're doing it less than we did it as a generation. So there's all kinds of different movements in this direction. So I'm a little surprised to see that you will be able to write for Wine and Enthusiast, but I'm not really, because of Doug and I have been feeling this for a while, and we get it. But so, did you say, Jeff, that you didn't? I never know. I've never heard the origin of you not drinking. You don't. You just prefer not to drink. It's not that you. Yeah. Tell us that story.
So
that's rare.
It is. Well, I've never had a drink. I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never done a drug. I was straight edge. I guess you could say I still am. I don't X up anymore. But when I was 10-ish, 9 or 10, I was sick and I was given Tylenol with codeine and hallucinated vividly and horrifically. And then nobody knew what caused it. So I got sick again at some point that same year, right around that time, and they gave that same medicine to me. And then they realized, okay, that's what it is. I can still picture what that. I mean, I'm 46 now, so 38 to 36 years later.
Some odd years, yeah.
I can still see that. What those hallucinations look like, and I think if I were to really, the genesis of me being the way I am with that, I became a clarity junkie at that moment. I realized that I never want anything to disrupt my thoughts or where I am or what I'm seeing and feeling and thinking. And then coupled with, as I grew up and ran a record label and was around bands and in bars and and my dad, who wasn't probably drank like every other dad, not alcoholically, not to an alcoholic level, probably, although maybe technically, I don't know.
Casually, though, enough that you knew it as
you noticed as
his son. Yeah.
And as he got older too, especially the things that would slip, or he wouldn't remember things that were just said, and I'm like, hate this. Why do people do this? Or my brother, when I was young, we went to see Pearl Jam because my two brothers loved Pearl Jam. I guess I did too. And he was so plastered and hurled after the show. Didn't remember a single song. I'm like, what's the point of this? I don't understand. You pay all this money to go, and then all this money to drink at these
things.
And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, you weren't even there. Like, you just stay home. I don't know.
Right.
Right. But it all started with the Cody.
Sure.
So yeah, that's really the long and short of it.
Yeah, and I Doug and I again, we are the whole, and then what do they have now? What is it, Doug? No drink Januaries or
dry January.
Dry Januaries, and I mean they're building it in now everywhere. And I don't know, as a I'm a beer guy, obviously, look at that. Yeah. Right. But I want to promote, I promote really more, casual drinking and drinking for the taste and having it be a social thing, not like a non-social thing. And all these different beer events that end up with people puking and all that, those are just huge turnoffs to me.
Right.
I just think that they're negatives towards the whole, if we want to be cool and you want to have a cocktail, I want to have a drink, or you just want to sit with a soda and I'll have a drink, that'd be great. But anything in excess is not. We're definitely not those guys, right, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time in my life where that very much was part of what I was, but
right. But that's I love Jeff because he bucked that societal trend, which is.
That's the contrarian in him.
Yeah, I mean,
well, for sure.
I mean, that at 10, and then like college radio at 17, and art house films around that same time, and all things independent, from the pizza shops to the video stores. Back when you went to video stores or record shops, like everything in my life has been going. Like I zig when I see other people zagging. I want nothing but disruption. Well, Zach, I've heard a lot of your thoughts, and I don't blame you. I would also want to.
We would also like disruption from your thoughts, Zach. Thank you.
Right. So that led you into Doug. I'll let you follow up. I'm sorry if you wanna jump on any of this, but
you go.
I just wanted to get to a comment here real quick, which is that does it serve my memory correctly that Jeff is a fan of fine root beers, and I can answer that question. I'm pretty sure I can answer that question, but I'm going to answer the question and segue a little bit, which is, you felt, Jeff, and you've seen the rise of craft soda.
Yeah.
And I believe that the rise of craft soda comes with the rise of craft everything. Doug and I are about the rise of craft beer. Doug's into the rise of craft distilleries. Doug and I are in the rise of craft non-alcoholic distilleries.
Oh, wow.
There's just a rise of craft things and people trying to do it smaller and better and funner. And is that what is going on as far as the craft soda scene?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I've yet to, and hopefully that's next, because I mean, it seems like the natural progression for me to write some sort of story. I've taken pictures of every craft root beer that I've had, and I usually only have them in the location, or at least in the region where they're brewed, where they're from. And so I keep this database of these fine craft root beers, in hopes of telling a story about small batch stuff. And like, I just feel, I mean, it's so perfect for me. And it's neat that a lot of people, like the craft beer movement, that I know sometimes has been co-opted by some of the big brands buying up the small craft beers over the years. But, they come from a place of, I think, of like passion and artistry and wanting to do something like that showed that pun intended, like they pour themselves and their beliefs and their experience and their love into something.
Yep.
And I think that's really cool in anything, whatever you're producing. I mean, I guess unless it's like 3D guns, like 3D printed guns, like don't pour yourself into that, or like meth labs or whatever. But otherwise, if you're making something, whether it's a magazine or a root beer or whatever,
right,
because like you need to, like you have no choice but to do this thing.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of breweries make good root beers now, bottle them or on tap. I have a problem with tap root beer, but like a cool bottle. I like artwork too. So like if it's got a really cool name and like a really cool, I love looking at wine stores like just appreciating the typesetting and the artistry of beer bottles or wines. But yeah, there's a lot of root beers out there that are really beautiful that accentuate different notes like honeys and sarsaparilla and butterscotch, or there's things happening in them that if you drink them. Oh, the other thing that people might know, if you know I like root beers, you probably heard me say that I like them just a little bit cooler than room temperature. I don't like ice cold root beer because you can't taste any of that stuff. But the warmer it is, or the less cold it is, all those notes come out. And so the other funny thing about my beverage choices, I drink really good root beer and really shitty ginger ale. They're the only two things other than water that I drink. I don't drink hot beverages. I don't believe in them philosophically.
Whoa. Wait, what's with the shitty root beer? Why? I'm sorry. Shitty ginger ale. Yeah, shitty ginger ale. Sorry, I love ginger ale. I wanted you to tell me about some good ones.
Like a Seagram's or Canada. I drink like mass market ginger ale, which barely has ginger in it.
Right.
Because the good ginger ales like actually taste like ginger, and I'm like, oh my god, why is there so much ginger in my ginger ale?
Oh, I got you. Okay. Right.
Oh, Jay, like Seagram's is my favorite ginger ale because it's gorgeous. Like the artwork on a Seagram's is beautiful. Canada Dry, definitely the ugliest ginger ale can. What's the other big one? There's
Seagram's.
So yeah, Seagram's is like
Seagram's.
There's like three massive ones.
There's what's that other one? Man, y'all tell us in the stop making fun of Jeff. And
Beers and ale. Yeah.
Schweppes.
Oh, that's the other one. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Schweppes is in the middle of the three. Yeah, just the look of them. They all taste identical to me.
Right.
Vernon. Oh yeah, Vernon's from Michigan, from Detroit. Yeah, that's gingery. I'm not sure I like that one.
Do you have a top five?
Top five root beers. So Sprecker's from Milwaukee is the best root beer in the world, hands down.
Wow. Okay.
That's somewhat in Greg's neighborhood. Not really.
Oh no, that is my neighborhood, Doug.
Yeah.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, Madison. They own Wisconsin as far as
Sprecher.
Yes. And sodas is fantastic. You go to their restaurant and they have a flight of sodas. Yeah, they have a flight of sodas, Jeff.
Whoa. I didn't know Sprecher had a restaurant.
Yeah, and they have a flight of sodas. And I love
I
love that.
Like a wooden board, like a
wooden board, and you get like little samples, and my kids love it. I get the beer, and they get that, and honestly, I enjoy their soda more than their beer. No disrespect, even though it's going to be disrespectful coming from a beer guy like me.
Yeah.
But that being said, they really do all kinds of beer. They just came out with a Dr. Schrecker now. It's Dr. Pepper.
Really?
Pepper. And it's new, yeah. So. I'm sorry, I want to get back to this. I don't want to hijack you, but yeah. So they do beer. I'm sorry, they do soda. Excellent. They're excellent soda place.
Very cool.
Fantastic. And you just verified it by saying that they're the best root beer. So.
I've tasted at least 50 craft root beers across America, and Sprecher is hands down. Now, there's a close second, and it's equal parts really good, but also it's my hometown one, original hometown, not New York, but Hank's in Philly, or in the suburbs of Philly, is like 1A or 1B to Sprecher's, just because it's what I grew up consuming, and it's still delicious and still craft. It doesn't have high fructose corn syrups or any of the fake colors in it. As far as the other ones, I like Virgil's, it's still craft, I guess, but you can kind of get it anywhere. Virgil's and Maine Root are the two good root beers that are pretty widely available.
I've seen both of those.
Maine Root is in like some shop, like Cava. I don't know if you have Cava. Cava. It's a like Mediterranean fast, fresh hummus falafel, which is my favorite food. They have Maine Root on tap. Like their soda machine is all Maine Root soda, so it's out there. They're very, very good. The other ones, to round out the top five, it's really hard. Like I'll put the top specialty one Also from Milwaukee. Dang butterscotch root beer. It's Dang, that's good root beer. Is Shasta. Zach is so low rent. It's he's so
Oh, that's great. Good. So it's hard. So you're saying the bottom five, the bottom of the top five is kind of hard-ish.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, from memory, like you could throw a Virgil's in a main route and then round it out with Dang butterscotch if you want something that's truly different, that has such a neat flavor to it, like a hint of butterscotch, which I like. I mean, you have to like butterscotch to like that, but drinking a Dang, you get the added benefit of going, Dang, that's good root beer. Saying their tagline, be a complete dork, to embarrass your children in front of people, which is always
right. Oh, cream soda. That's coming back.
I do like it occasionally. If there's no root beer available, I will do a good cream soda occasionally. Stevia.
I don't even know what that is.
Did he misspell Zima? Is he trying to bring Zima back?
Zima did make a comeback, all but briefly, but yes.
Yeah. Doug, you haven't had a question here forever, so.
Well, I would like to say that the butterscotch root beer sounds delightful because I love butterscotch. So that sounds awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure I have a question because that's really rare for me usually because I'm good at doing that thing. But I remember with the last Dad 2-0 we were at together, I gave you 2 craft root beers from New York State.
You did.
And I think one was Adirondack and
one was Saranac, I think.
Saranac, yeah.
Which I didn't want to say it at the time. I don't consider that a craft root beer.
Okay.
If you look at the ingredients, I think there's high fructose corn syrup in that. And for me, that's like a hard no. Like if you're using like what the mass marketing, the big boys use, I drank it. You gave it to me. I didn't like smash it and like shiv somebody with the broken glass.
This is shit.
I mean, if Zach was nearby, I might have. But I wouldn't have been able to get through the pink rope. The pink rope protects him. I wouldn't have been able to break that shield. But there it is. Oh,
yay, soda. Yay, soda.
24-pack.
Doug, I don't know Hanks to you. We're Eastern Pennsylvania. We come from Eastern Pennsylvania. We ran there. Okay. I'm sorry, Jeff. You go back to what y'all were talking about. Doug was giving y'all.
Oh yeah, he so kindly gave me a couple of root beers, and during this, I wanted to mail you guys Hanks so badly, and I just never did, and I apologize. But for this show, I wanted us all to be drinking Hanks root beer because I thought that would have been appropriate.
That would have been awesome.
It would have been, and I ruined it. But maybe in a year, the next time I'm home, you can.
Let's do an let's do an exchange. I'll send you some Speckers, and you can send. Yeah, we can.
That's gotta be. I might have to for one. I might have to send you 2 Hanks for every 1 Spreckers. Okay,
and then Doug can send us some shitty ones from up north. we already know he has some. So, and Zach is fanning at the disrespect that y'all show him.
Zach is very supportive. I do want to. Zach is such an awesome dude. His photos have appeared. He has not wanted any money from me. He's subscribed to Stanchion from the beginning. He's an incredibly talented photographer and a poet. A lot of people don't know.
What?
Oh, I've never heard that.
Oh, Zach.
What?
I'm outing you as a poet.
Yes. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
And guess what? He's
coming here for it.
He'll be on our show here in a few weeks. So we'll be expecting a poetry slam from Zach for half of the show.
Yes.
Yeah, he's such a talented dude.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
May 13th, y'all. May 13th.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right, excellent.
I'll be away, but
you can always catch us on replay.
I'll be in Alaska on May 13th.
Yeah, Right. Don't.
Oh, now it's just turning into a big love fest. Nobody
Right. No, I gotta get that out of here. Right. Is it a poem about his robe?
It's a poem about what's under his robe.
Oh, sweet soft robe.
Oh, y'all trip. Anyway, really quickly though, during all this mess, I've opened up a double haze.
That's a cool looking bottle.
From Working Jar Beer Company, one of my favorites, and they're what did you said? Oh, when you described the Philadelphia Union, you said that they're an organization that just does it right and they get it right and they speak to the right things. Well, my boys at the Working Draft Brewing Company, they are that, and I appreciate them. And real quick, let me get a plug in, Doug. Next Thursday on our Twitter space, 8 p.m. on Thursday, we're going to talk about trustworthy breweries. And like Jeff says, breweries that do it right. Last week we talked about problematic breweries, Brewdog, and other ones. And where do you draw that line? Is it union busting? Is it sexism? Is it racism? Where and then once you draw a line, Jeff, with a brewery, because there's so many that there are 9,000 now in America, so all of them can't be. You know what I mean? I can't be. They could be if they were smart and good people, but it can't always be that way. So we have some bad breweries who treat women like shit, treat minorities crappy.
How do you find out about that? Like
that travels like wildfire.
Oh, does it?
It does, but it's a problem though, Jeff, because for people like me, and not you because you don't go to breweries, but it would be a problem for you if you did go to breweries because you travel so much. And you just, you travel a lot, and I like grouping breweries and I love them. I love the neighborhood breweries that I can hit 1, 2, 3, and 4, have a couple samples, see the environment, feel what's going on, the vibe in there, and then get out and go, to another one. And you can't drink, if you drink like me, you can drink all day, but you can't normally do that. My point is that when I'm scheduling my trips, it's hard to figure out who's problematic by just a directory. So you almost have to have word of mouth, or sometimes you make mistakes and you go to a problematic brewery. I took an extensive tour, Doug, of Founders Brewery before I knew about Founders Brewery, which is, Jeff, you probably don't know, but there's just so many documented things that are bad. They actually had a copier that only Black people could use and white people couldn't use. Like like it was that bad. And then when a guy sued, they fired him and did all those bad things that they didn't, how some companies can make a mistake and then rectify the mistake or try to with their actions. Founders just doubled down on their bullshit. So they're not really but I did a tour there probably during when this mess was going on, so I didn't know. So it's really tough. And then you can't have our friend Joel Gratzik has he has a brewery finder app website, and he removes all these problematic ones immediately. Okay. So if you I know, Jeff, you won't use it because you're not a beer person, but for any of y'all, I need to tweet out his thing. If any of y'all want to know, y'all can use his brewery finder, and he does Joel's up on it. Didn't Joel put on his personal profile? I don't want to say his personal, but I think it's public. He blocked like 2,000 people on Facebook or something. So Joel is really quick he's really on it. Yeah. So I think that's probably one of your best spots to find that. But it gets problematic, Jeff, and it gets hard because, again, like I said, some of these small breweries, do really nasty things. But I just wanted to put that plug in. Next week we're going to talk about trustworthy breweries and good people and all that. So y'all be able to check that out. What are you going to say, Jeff?
As someone who, bands, actors, sports clubs, whatever, companies, if I'm somebody who can't disassociate the individual from the art or the product or whatever. So much like what you're saying, no matter how good the beer is or whatever, if there is problems at the CEO level or wherever, you just got to like cut bait and be done with it. Living like that though is so friggin' exhausting. Like trying to find out, before you go, like, where do you draw the line? Like, if I'm going to go buy something, do I have to like research, did the CEO donate any money in the last election or whatever? Like, it's like it's so hard to be good and exhausting to be good.
Yes.
In every part of your life to make sure that your dollars, because like as individual people and as consumers, like we vote or we support or back things with our individual money. Like that's what we do as consumers, as people. We can't really affect change
otherwise sometimes, right?
In any other way. And so like, but how far do you go? Because like otherwise you just all day like paralyzed trying to decide where should I buy like a French fry, like where should I go get a milkshake? Independent ones are better just in that they're not big multinational corporations, but the individual person that owns that could be a horrible dude or woman or person. Do you find it like crippling almost if to try to be as good as you possibly can?
Yep. And then, as you know, as I consider myself a micro influencer, I don't have the reach that either one of y'all have, actually, for the record. But, or maybe not, but whatever. My point is that I find it hard even speaking out about certain things because then is this going to bite me or is this something, you know what I mean? Like, did I do my research before I talked about how much I love Ringling Brothers Brewery in Baraboo? Come to find out, this man allegedly, according to the papers, was sexually harassing most of his staff and all this, that, and the other thing. This was weeks after I went there and put on my social media that how much I loved her. So that I went back and said, hey, look, I loved when I was there. Obviously, I wasn't sexually harassed. I'm pretty much probably not his clientele to sexually harass, but I had a good time there. But at the same time, now it seems problematic. I want y'all to look, Google the news, and I want y'all to look for it and make your own decision. I want people to make their own decisions too, Jeff, because again, everybody, like you said, where's the line? Right. Everybody has a different line. But my line is pretty, when there's 9,000 breweries, Jeff, my line is pretty, I'm with my friend Joel Gratzik. My line is pretty aggressive because, I almost need something to narrow down those 9,000 breweries. I'm never going to get down to all of them, Jeff. Right. So at some point, if y'all going to be stupid and y'all going to be, assholes, I'm sorry, for lack of a better term, whether you're racist, sexist, union busting, all that mess, it's easy for me to be like, okay, cool, I'll just cut you out until you figure it out. And I'm willing, as we spoke about on the Twitter Spaces on Thursday, I'm willing to give y'all a chance because as you probably tell your kids and I tell mine, everybody fucks up. Yeah. It's about how you respond to that fuck up. Totally. And we live in this, and Jeff, because you follow the news and all that, you're up on it. We live in this double down on bullshit society now, where people are more emboldened by bullshit. Right. And more like, you call them out and it's cancel culture and you're trying to cancel me because of, no, you're an asshole. So that's why you're being canceled. It has nothing to do with, right. So, and you double down on your assholeness afterwards. You're not like, oh, I'm sorry, or, oh, you know what I mean? Or you're trying to do
imagine a world where people just like apologize for shit.
Right.
And just be like, I'm going to try to do better. I just fucked that up. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like what the hell?
What the hell? Doug, your former governor is prime example of this.
Oh.
This man could have done the right thing and said, look, I fucked up. I'm going away. I'm sorry. I'm going to donate to this, that, and the other thing. I'm going to volunteer. I really want y'all to, understand that I'm sincere in this. Oh, no. He was like, oh, no, it's not my fault. These people are assholes. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to run again. I have yet to establish, y'all won't listen to me. I have yet to establish my side of the story. I heard him say once. No, we heard your fucking side. And we heard everybody else's side too, asshole. Oh my god, that dude burns me out. I don't even want to say his name because he's so fucking annoying. So y'all know who I'm talking about. And let alone, I'm not even trying to talk about the old president. I'm just saying, like, we live in a society of double down bullshit, Jeff, and I think we should at least. I mean, it's hard when people fuck up and then they come to the table and they're like, "Hey, I'm sorry," and that's it. It's not that I don't want to reward them, Jeff, but at the same time, I want to reward them, Jeff.
Yeah. Like, if people just understand, like, it's over so much faster when you apologize. Like,
you take away their ammunition.
Right.
And if you're genuine about it, we've all seen the apologies that are not apologies.
No, the I'm sorry if you were offended. Like, that's not really an apology.
Right. I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry I offended you. You know what I mean? Like, that's that shitty apology. That
you're not sorry. You're sorry. You're
I'm
sorry for what I said. I'm sorry for what I said and how you reacted to it. Yeah, not my problematic stance on everything. Yeah, no, it's like it's so frustrating to me to watch all of that, and yeah, I want to run to people's side. It's so rare when people are like when they do apologize. But I want to support that. I want to show support. Just be like, listen, people will rally behind you, and even though you did something terrible, you're still going to get shit from some people, of course, and you deserve it. But it will quickly be forgotten, and you'll grow and learn from it. I mean, failure breeds success. And what is my quote that I lived by since I was a Civil War buff when I was a kid? Frederick Douglass's quote. It's a paraphrase. Without struggle, there can be no progress. But you need to embrace and acknowledge the struggle in order to progress. So you need to learn from the failure, absorb it, take it in, process it, admit it. I mean, that's like an AA meeting I'm turning into now, but and I don't know. Those are some of the steps are in what I just said. Some of the copywriting I do is for recovery services, which it's funny. My browser history is very problematic. If something happened to me, if I went missing, and they're like, "Well, let's look at his computer." Oh my God, what wasn't Jeff addicted to? But every other search is how to get help. So it looked like he was trying to get help. Yeah. So I know, as the guy who's never done anything, I know way too much about every sort of drug addiction. But yeah, and 12-step programs. So yeah, like just deal with it, make amends, reach out to the people you've hurt, and build bridges. It's so like most things. It's so goddamn simple. I don't understand why people just don't do it. The double down maybe it makes more money. It gets more airwaves, and maybe that's all this is. It's all any of this is. This dog and pony show of these people who are just constantly outraged by stuff. And like when people do good, that's a problem. And it's when we try to feed kids, it's wrong. Like, or whatever. Like everything.
Being woke is a problem, right?
Yeah, being aware of shit,
right. Being aware of people and not saying certain things around certain people.
Yeah.
Wow. Right.
Oh, you're so woke. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. Oh,
Jeff, you're so fucking considerate. Oh my God. Unlike Zach, who again is not considerate. Oh, Zach, stop it.
I'm sick in bed, Zach. I'm sick in bed.
Right. So, we're getting, again, like all great conversations, Doug, it gets to be so late and we don't even, there's stuff that we have to get to. One thing I do want to get to is, this. But where is this? Where is this stuff? I'm going to go first real quick. I don't have anything new. I'm still on this. And season 3, episode 6, Doug, was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my whole life. And I don't like hyperbole in this way, meaning I don't like I'm not the guy running around saying everybody's the GOAT. Tom Brady's the GOAT, and LeBron James is the GOAT, and Jeff Bogle's the GOAT, and everybody's the GOAT. No. Not everybody can be the GOAT. In fact, the GOAT only comes once in a lifetime for some people, and most of the time, y'all never really even seen the GOAT. So maybe Tom Brady is the GOAT, or maybe Ronaldo, Jeff is the GOAT. But you see, Ronaldo's the GOAT, Messi's the GOAT. I mean, it just does. It never ends. No, I've seen one of the best TV shows I've ever seen in my life for 60 minutes. They put everything in there. It was a build of like 3 years. Sometimes, Jeff, we can maybe get into this. In this streaming era of our media, sometimes what I heard about this one is that like a lot of people couldn't get it, like they didn't grasp it in the first couple episodes, so then they ditched it. And to me, I failed that because I didn't really get into the show until like the second year, and then I got why they were building it up and all that. So Peaky Blinders is fantastic. It's on Netflix. Netflix has had a bad week. And people have been either leaving it or talking shit on it. It's one of the good ones on there. It's fantastic. If you can, I'm telling you, you'll get paid off if you make it through season 3. It's just fucking great. I love that show. But that's nothing new. Jeff, nothing new to the people who watch the stream because we talked about it a couple of weeks, but I'm still on that. Jeff, what are you watching and what is entertaining for you?
Well, I watch a lot of soccer and cricket now. I've fallen in love with cricket. But
you've gotten a cricket itch too now.
Yeah, I went to see 3 cricket matches while I was in London the past couple of weeks. But as far as a show, so there's 2 answers to that question, I guess. My wife and I are watching old Endeavour episodes, which was a BBC show that's on PBS. It's on, where do we watch it? Amazon Video, I guess. It's a crime detective show, an hour and a half long episode, so it's like a film every week. And I love it. I'm showing it to her. But the show of the moment, and my youngest daughter is watching it with me. I mean, she's seen this one season. She's seen every episode probably multiple times, but she's showing it to me. So I'm only up to see episode 4, I think, because sadly my kids don't live with me right now. Is Our Flag Means Death, which is like the touchstone cultural show, I think, of the moment. Taika Waititi is a genius. We love his What We Do in the Shadows television program, and films like Jojo Rabbit, which is a wonder. But this show it's so friggin' ridiculous and funny, but I think I'm going to understand why it's so culturally relevant as it keeps going. I can see where things are going, although I don't know them for sure because I avoid all spoilers of things. And my daughters don't tell me, thankfully.
What episode are you on?
I think 4.
Okay. And
so Taika Waititi's in it now. Like his character, Blackbeard, is in it. So whatever episode that was, I think it's 4. So, but yeah, love it. Really brilliantly funny and right up my street as far as humor goes.
HBO Max is the new Netflix. Doug, what's going on? Well, I mean, yeah, to me it has they've grown. I think they've grown the most out of any streaming site recently. But they also remember when Netflix first came out and it had that buzz going on, Jeff? Like everybody either had Netflix or you felt like you should, or
Super
people were
FOMO,
talking about it. Yeah, that's what HBO Max is now.
Okay.
I mean, we all know. I mean, we're old school guys, so we all know HBO's been pumping out good content for decades at this point. So it's not really a new thing. But I think HBO Max is a new thing, and now they just bought Discovery Plus. So now you're going to see that get integrated into HBO Max. They already said they're going to do that. But this is Doug's graphic that he put up here for us. So Doug wanted to talk about the same thing.
Oh, yep. So my wife watched this whole show like in a day. I get so the guy that Reese Darby's plays is actually a real guy.
Oh yeah,
Steed Bennett or Steed something or whatever. the gentleman pirate was actually a real thing. He was an English well-to-do guy and left his wife and kids and just said, fuck it, I'm going to be a pirate. And for a brief time, actually collaborated with Blackbeard. That's actually a real historical thing.
Oh, wow.
But this show is so irreverent and silly, and as my wife said, very queer.
Very queer.
And
but like, it's so charming. Like it
is. It's not like oh, I won't get it because I'm not queer. No, it's really charming, really funny, really endearing. There's a million people in it that like, you just saw the guy Hodor from Game of Thrones. He's in there, and he's one of the regular folks. And yeah, they have Leslie Jones is in it, I think, and like there's all these little cameos of all these folks jumping in, and it's I have a hard sell on comedy shows, on sitcoms per se. For some reason they just have to be right, or I lose interest super fast. This is really fun. And
where are you at in it, Doug?
I'm only on episode 2, and Joe actually told Greg today in a chat. Doug goes so damn slow because I can't binge watch stuff. I'm like you. I'm like, I watch 2 episodes. I'm like, all right, that's enough. I got to go do something.
Yeah.
I can't just sit there and watch it stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, so you haven't got my favorite line so far. It's not really spoiling anything, but it's not spoiling anything at all. He's unveiled as the gentleman pirate, and I can't remember the character names, but his like the guy who's like writing everything down. The dude, the person. Yeah. He's charged with like introducing him, and he goes into this bar of bandits, and he's like making his regional debut. The pirate.
So does he go in like Paul Bettany and A Knight's Tale and do that sort of thing?
Oh, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't know that reference.
Have either of you seen A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger and Paul Bettany? And
I don't think so.
Oh, guys, this is not a new movie. This movie it's silly and dumb, and Heath Ledger's great in it, and like there's a bunch of great actors in it. I don't just watch it. You'll thank me later.
Send it to our private chat.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Cool. Or not in here in our messenger one.
Yep.
But yeah, when you get a chance, sometime this weekend, I'll check it out. Yeah. Oh, you should be booed for that, Doug.
Yeah. No, you can boo me all. It's not a great movie. It's one of those movies that's like just super watchable. It's funny. It's not serious. Yeah. All right, Victor, you do that.
So okay, so that's what we're watching. Jeff, one of the many other things we do, I keep trying to use this word, Doug. We would be remiss if we don't talk about it. Is Jeff does a podcast?
Yes,
I do. I host the Dad 2.0 Summit's official podcast with your friend and mine, Mr. Doug French.
Cheers.
We are like 100 and some episodes. I don't even know what number it is. I don't do the admin. I just show up. And
this is another pandemic thing, isn't it?
No, well, I don't know when we no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Doug and I did a show called Into the Scrum. And then he convinced John, I guess, the other co-founder of Dad 2, I guess, to like brand it as Dad 2.0 since podcasts were like, on the uptick or probably already were way on the upswing. And so we just kind of morphed it into Dad 2.0. So we've been actually podcasting together for a while. We were supposed to record one over the past couple of weeks because Doug French was actually staying in my apartment watching our cats while I was in England. And we were supposed to, just for the novelty of like him being here.
Do it together. Yeah.
And it just never happened. So we're on hiatus right now between seasons. So that probably he didn't have the drive to do it, I guess. But yeah, we interview people. Occasionally it's just Doug and I chatting, but we've had the head coach of the Philadelphia Union. I was able to get and talk to him, which was amazing. And I have his phone number to text him whenever I want if I need tickets.
Or
And
don't you hit them with tactical points before the game? Be like, look, you got to run a 4-2-2. Let's go.
wow, very nice. Well, very nice football reference. The classic British 4-4-2 formation.
Yes.
Yeah, like to see Sergio Santos on the left wing today, Coach, if you don't mind.
Right. See, you're ready for it. Don't lie.
We've had like the pen holdernesses and the
Doug Zigglers.
Doug Zigglers. I was building to that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to, bury the lead there. Sorry.
But yeah, it's been a cool journey. Along the way, I've learned so much from doing it, and it's really informed who I am as a dad and I'm not just saying this. I'm definitely not being paid to say this. As a writer and a person on the internet, and a dad, the people we've talked to, and my evolution. I might hiccup burping like I've been drinking.
Right. Not water, not beer.
No, it's secondhand burping. The evolution of me as a creative person is so funny to track on that, because like when we started doing it, I would always be self-deprecating and wouldn't think I was any good, and I was afraid of pitching. Like I wouldn't pitch publications, blind pitch anyone. And now, well, I'm just like, if I have an idea and I think I can find a home for it and I can find an email address, I'm just like, send. Like, here's who I am. I think I'd be really good at this. Here's my idea. Please love me. I don't even dwell on it anymore. So like I've become so much more confident in my own ability to do this job and to live this life. And it's in large part because of that show that I do. So it's been a really neat thing because of all the successful people in a variety, whether they're YouTubers or Instagram people or writers or whoever, or coaches of the best football team in America, soccer team in America, who said legitimately at the end of our interview, he's like, this was the best interview. Like this is so much better than any interview Fox Sports or ESPN have ever done with me. And I was like, damn right. We didn't just ask you, like we asked you about like your
couple soccer questions.
Right. We talked about football. I mean, I wasn't going to not talk about soccer, but we talked about like your growing up and his life and his fatherhood, and it was awesome. So yeah, that is a thing. I'm sure Doug French will be happy for the mention. Thank you.
Yes, we love to promote everybody coming there, because y'all promoting us by being here, and y'all make this way better because of shit like this. Lauren says, did Greg spill? Yes, Greg spilled. Talking about Doug French, and Jeff got me all excited here. Joel, three of my favorite people. Joel, your ears must have been ringing, bro, because we were talking about you probably about 20 minutes to go back 20 minutes, but we were talking about your Beer Finder app and website that I'm fond of, that the fact that you remove problematic breweries on there, I think is an admirable thing, and I like that you do that. We were also laughing about how you said you blocked 2,000 people on Facebook, which is fantastic. I mean, I don't even know if fantastic is the word. This is really interesting, but my point is that, like, you're willing to remove people from your life that don't add anything, and that's something that it's a trait that I think we all could learn more of. I'll speak for myself on that, because there's still some problematic people I just keep around just to voyeur them or just to see what the hell's going on, but they don't really add anything to my life. And Joel, yeah, but it's also about mental health too. So for sure.
Hey,
sure.
I'd be speaking of the word remiss. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out. So I've not talked to you, Daddy Porter, in a very long time, but many years ago, we were in Washington, D.C. together at a Dad 2.0 conference. And we were seated in a very comfy kind of boothy chair thing. And you were talking to me about wanting to start something like this, or a podcast, or like put your voice out there and face. And that there's a picture of us. I don't know if you ever noticed this. On the Dad 2.0 header, the picture of us having this conversation has been part of the Dad 2.0 header since that time. But I was trying to encourage you to just do it, man, that you have an amazing voice, number one, and that your passion is so evident for it. And I just want to say, because I've not had the opportunity to actually say it, how proud I am of you and how happy I am that you just like pushed all the chips in and like put yourself out there to be like an earnest, passionate dude. So I love what you do. I don't consume what you do, but I love what you do.
Yeah, Doug sees my reaction. Thank you. That's awesome. Doug knows I'm not really one for, what's the word, Doug?
For compliments? Yeah, me either. In case you've given me compliments on this show 100 times, and I'm always like, yeah.
Now, that's an important. Hey, so let's address that real quick before my voice completely gives out. Accepting compliments is something I've struggled with for many years. I've kind of gotten over it because I recognize that it's selfish to not accept it, because that person giving you the compliment is getting something out of this transaction too, and to deny them that is just not fair. So, like, I got over myself, and even if I don't believe it, and sometimes I still don't, I take it graciously and thank them, because they need to get that payoff and that adrenaline or endorphin rush of giving the compliment. So,
agreed.
Well, thank you, Jeff. That's
you're very welcome.
And are you though? Are you sucking on a weather original?
I am doing. I don't know. My wife gave me this. We are not sponsored by whatever the hell this is, but
we are not sponsored by them. We will gladly do it though.
I'm freebasing Senpakal at this point.
Butterscotch root beer flavor.
I wish. No, it's like sucking on mineral ice. It's making my whole mouth burn.
Doug, and then we'll start our farewells with Jeff.
Yeah, I just have one thing, Jeff. As you were talking about, I am a big fan of can and bottle art for years. Yeah, so it's very important to me now. Sometimes I'll buy things for the can art.
Without even looking at the date.
Without even seeing the date, which is important because some beers are date sensitive. I got this because of the flavors, but also the can art, which I thought was pretty cool.
Ooh, let me get it up here.
It's very Art Deco.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
The detail's amazing.
You know, my first instinct would have been like, there's a little too much going on there, but the wings of that, the edges of that are really beautiful. But it does.
Look at her. Yeah.
It does have that like Great Gatsby era Art Deco vibe going on. Is that a skeleton in the middle?
Yeah, it's a skull. It's basically it's Moctezuma is what it's called. So Aztec, it's like an Aztec thing, as Zach said. From Seven Island Brewing, which made with Mobstra coffee, which I've never heard of, but
wow.
I believe Seven Island is in New York. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where the heck their thing is. Cazenovia, New York.
Nice.
So,
all right.
But I really dug that, and I just wanted to share that because I thought that was really cool. But yeah,
I like it. Thank you for sharing that. It's one of those like you can figure out how to like take the top off and like make it like a little planter, put like some little flowers.
Well, this is the thing that I would love to be able to take like labels off and preserve them.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's not a really good way to take them off easily without probably ripping them.
Yeah,
that's a bummer, but
that would be something if we could get like some can art because there's so many good designs or so many big. You know what I mean? It's just it's become insane. And Jeff, you may know this or not because you've done a little research on a brewery. You did a piece that I really loved about a brewery on a cruise ship.
On a cruise ship, yeah,
I love that.
Man, I've been to so many breweries and wineries and distilleries. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Like,
you just don't talk about it.
They're so often a part of press trips. And I'm just like, oh, my God, another brewery.
Another brewery. Right.
Another brewery that doesn't have root beer.
But what breweries have been doing is a lot of them have been grouping with local artists. and whether you know what I mean, whether it be promoting them or paying them, hopefully, to put on their art, hopefully. But some of them is not, though. Just so you know, and you know how that goes. But some breweries aren't even in a place to pay art people that what they're worth. Art people never get paid what they're worth. I'm not even going to get Jeff started on that shit.
If I can pay a poet, a brewery can pay an artist.
This is true. But that's been one of the things that craft beer has come up with, or has been the rise of craft beer has seen the rise of art on cans and them, working with artists on that. So that's just been great. It's just another outlet for artists because, again, artists don't, as you know, there's only a couple of lanes that they really have to navigate mostly. And three out of the 5 lanes don't pay, something like that. So that, you know what I mean, or pay to the level that ultimately people
to live,
to live a livable wage, but also to the level of people being able to be appreciated for what they do. And there's again, we pay our, I know you love soccer the most. I know you love soccer and sports and all that, and I know you relate to that. Doug and I love sports too, but on some level they get overpaid for what they do, and we have artists who don't get paid remotely enough, who almost have that same impact on society as someone who runs around throwing the football all day. But Jeff, before we go, if I didn't ask this question, Doug, I was just gonna we failed. Jeff, you have to tell us about as much as you can. I know your voice is going. Your trip to, you're one of the few people, if not the only person I know, who's been to the bottom of the earth.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
Antarctica.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I call the bottom of the earth, people. So come at me. But I know you're going to get to me. The bottom is not the bottom. And I got it.
It's flat, so there is no bottom, of course.
Right.
So, that's a fair point.
Right.
So, I went to the bottom of the flatness. You folded it first, and then there was a bottom. There you go. Yeah, it's like origami. It's origami earth.
How do you get to invited, first of all? Do you get invited, or can you just say you're going, or how does that work?
I got invited. So, let's see. So the PR, the quickest version of this, the PR representative that I used to work with Carnival Cruises, which was my entry point into cruising. I was never a cruise guy up until 7 years ago. But they invited me on something. My kids loved it. We became friends. I became friends with the PR guy. I would go down and go to baseball games with him in Miami, and we would chat about family stuff. I have one of his daughter's stickers is on my laptop. She's an artist. And he sent me some of her stickers, and it's still on my laptop to this day. Well, he left Carnival and went to work for a luxury cruise line in the fall after 20 years, called Crystal Cruises. It was the 4 seasons at sea, Butlers and the whole bit. They had a brand new cruise ship that was purpose built for Antarctica expeditions. Usually the ships that go there are old ice cutters that they retrofit to put cabins in. So it's not it's kind of roughing it. This ship was the opposite of that. This ship was ridiculous. We had a butler. His name was Romario, and he was awesome. He brought us shrimp Caesar salads every day, and we loved him. So, the minute my buddy got to Crystal, he texted me. He's like, "I'm going to get you to Antarctica." I'm like, "All right, man." So I'm in this aforementioned Croatia trip on this yacht, and I get a text from him, and he's like, "Pick a date. You're gonna go. I got approval. You're gonna get it. We're gonna get you on this ship." So we picked a date for January. The shorter, there was 11-day journeys, 19-day journeys. We went with the shortest one possible, 11 days. And they flew us to Ushuaia, which is the southernmost city on planet Earth in Argentina, on a chartered flight. And then put us on this ship. And we went to Antarctica. And every day, the weather was amazing. It was 50 degrees, which was amazing, but it's also it shouldn't be 50 degrees in Antarctica.
No, it should not be.
but we're like shedding our clothes. And at one point I'm just in my full of my favorite soccer team's sweatshirt and sliding down snow, climbing up a hill and sliding down, and sitting on rocks on the beach with penguins every day. Just penguins waddling around you, coming up to you and falling over. And penguins were my favorite animal, have been since I was a boy. And obviously, I've never been to South Africa or Argentina where they exist in the wild. And so to be there every day, twice a day, like to be on the mainland. We landed 3 times on the mainland of Antarctica and about 6 times on different Antarctic islands. Every day I had penguins with me. You just sit there and they just come up to you and fall, and they're so ridiculous. They're every bit as ridiculous and adorable as you'd imagine them to be. And towards the end of the cruise, it was mating. Well, mating season had happened and they were hatching. And so we saw like teenager, like tall-ish, but still fluffy, like still huddled up with their moms and mostly dads, because penguins are awesome. I think I loved fatherhood even before I knew it because I love penguins so much. And they are one of the few animals that the dads do equal share of the heavy lifting. And it was a dream. And the weird part was the day after we got back, all this news about Crystal Cruises started coming out. They were owned by, and I'm using past tense now, so plot twist. They were owned by like a Chinese conglomerate or Hong Kong. I'm not even sure where, somewhere in Asia. And the company ran out of money and they went out of business. The next cruise after us was the final one, and Crystal Cruise went away. And which is sad because it was an amazing trip. It was an amazing ship. It was brand new. But I'm so happy that we picked the date we picked. Because if we picked 2 weeks later, there is no cruise.
Get out.
And I got this experience, and I don't mind telling you how much it was worth. It was $19,000 a person. And I didn't have to do any work for it because there was nothing to write about because the cruise line didn't exist. So a almost $40,000 trip to hang out with penguins for 11 days. Well, legitimately 8 days in Antarctica getting there. I mean, I wish Ramiro and the other great employees still maybe they picked up with other cruise lines. I don't know. There's a lot of cruise lines that work out of down there, but yeah, weird experience, a great experience. And then it became like watching the news, and every day there was just this weird stuff. Like ships couldn't go back to America because there were warrants against the company for like millions of dollars of unpaid fuel bills. And so there's passengers on ships like stranded in the Bahamas because they will refuse to go back to port. And they had to like charter a separate boat because if the Crystal ship showed up, it'd be seized. It was just wild. Like the week to 10 days after we got back was just wild watching the news. And then my buddy lost his job. So he left a 20-year gig and was with Crystal for like 4 months. He landed on his feet at another great cruise line. But yeah, it was weird. That is one of the weird perks of doing what I do. The people you make. And I do this on the Dad 2 show a lot. Now I'll do it a little bit here. I don't like the Berenstein Bears it with like smack people over the head with the moral of the story shit, but I hate the Berenstein Bears. It's the worst writer. So
late hot take.
Yeah, hot take. Suck it, Dan and Stan Berenstein. You be good to people. You care more about the person than what the person can do for you in life, anywhere in life, whether it's your professional life, personal life, your relationship, the person you choose to love. Everything I have accomplished, to use that word, is really, it's not because I can take a picture or write a little bit, whatever. A lot of people can do that. It goes back to a lot of what my dad taught me. It's like, care about the relationship. Meet people where they are as human beings with families, with troubles, with buying new houses, with sending kids off to college. Listen to their stories. Care about it. Follow up with them about that. Not because you want to angle yourself or stay in their inbox or whatever. It's because you care. And I've been doing that since I've been doing this job. And even though back when I was an influencer, you know, I was being selected on trips that I had no followers, but I'm just a good dude and I care about the work I do and the people that choose to work with me. And so not to get sappy, but like, it's so important to me, just goodness in the world, to quote Harry Styles, you treat people with kindness, just be good and it'll pay off too. Like that's like, it's both a personal motto and a business strategy, believe it or not, because it works. Like, people like that when people care about them because it's so rare. It's such a rare commodity. Like it's it's like startling.
Empathy.
Like, whoa, you actually care.
Mm-hmm. Empathy's a dying. It's a dying thing, unfortunately, Jeff. I said that, and you kind of stole my thunder, bro, because I was gonna say, like, I feel a lot of good karma coming your way on that trip. I mean, you deserve it, given who I know you are. So do you have any follow up on that?
I think it's part of kind of the ethos of Dad 2.0 stuff is really to don't be a dick. We have that too in the Daddy Porter group. It's just don't be a dick. Really, it's if you can do it, yeah, and it's just like just don't be a dick. It's an easy thing to not be a dick.
It really is. It
really is actually.
It's not hard. It's not hard to care and be kind. I feel like it takes more effort to like be rude. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I am an asshole sometimes. Like, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people who know me.
Everybody is at some point. Just that's.
If my ex-wife happens to be listening to this right now,
and sometimes you have to be too. Maybe not in the ex. You know, maybe not with your ex-wife, but sometimes you have to be an asshole to navigate these crazy.
You do. You have to be a cynic sometimes. I've tried to teach my kids that too. Sometimes you have to just because that's part of sticking up for yourself. Sometimes, like you can't. Yeah. Always give people the benefit of the doubt, or if people are toxic, you need to cut them out. You need to be like,
right,
fuck you, I'm moving on with my life.
Or you can give them the benefit of the doubt, Jeff, but you might have to be quick with that. Meaning, once you give them the benefit of the doubt, they bust that. Miss D'Angelo said, when someone shows themselves, take them at their word. I just paraphrase, but yeah. So sometimes you have to be quick, and sometimes being quick with that, Jeff, you feel a certain way. Sometimes you feel, am I being harsh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you like Joel said, sometimes it's about mental health, and you have to protect yourself. More, if you don't protect yourself, sometimes nobody will.
I saw a thing once that toxicity comes up a lot, both male and just in general. But there's a lot of the cut toxic people out of your life messaging and memes or whatever. But I saw one that went a little deeper, and it was cut the toxic part of yourself out of your life that puts up with toxic people, which I felt goes a step below because it's changing who you are so that you stop accepting the worst of people. And start demanding people treat you with kindness and treat you and love you the way you are meant to be loved. And I think that that makes it easier because it puts it inward. It's there's things that we can work on. If you've been accepting and keeping toxic people in your life, there's something about you probably that needs to be addressed. And it's not as simple as just cutting them off because that's just a Band-Aid. One, it's hard to do, and especially if you haven't changed yourself and what the connection that you need to keep open there. And I don't know, I just really like that. No idea, can't credit who that was. Flashed up on Instagram Explore, which is just screenshots of Twitter or whatever. All social media is just in the toilet. It's just videos and screenshots, and it's so bad. But yeah, I really appreciate that because it's not as easy. It requires a little bit of self work, which I like.
Well, with that being said, we're 2 hours in, Jeff, so we need to let you go.
Yeah, so you can actually rest.
Unfortunately.
We're not going to get into the after dark program, the after hours program, where things get really saucy.
Well, we do usually do an after show.
Oh, do you really?
No, we do usually, but that's
just not published. It's just not live.
That's where we talk shit about Zach for real.
Nice.
Right. because he has no say. He can't come back. He can't.
Yeah.
Nah, right.
This has been a real pleasure, guys. Thank you. Third time's a charm. I'm so happy to have been able to spend these 2 hours with you. It sure as hell is, Jonathan. But it's the hard work that really is the important work. The easy stuff doesn't last. The only thing worth doing is the hard stuff, really.
Right.
This has been wonderful, and I'm so appreciative to know you guys and to be able to share this time with you.
So, Jeff, and it's so much giving back on that one for sure. But this is the time where I ask: is there anything that we missed? Anything you want to plug that you didn't? Anything you want to plug again because we didn't hit it? Anything we didn't ask you that we should have? It's probably that, though, Doug. You always
plugging it in. Plugging it in. Hitting it.
Here's the last words for Jeff.
Did we just switch to the after hours program?
After hours already.
Well, yeah, I said plugging it and hitting it. Did we just pivot to the after hours program?
After hours.
So, boy, a lot of did we not touch on? I mean, not to toot my own horn, but probably there's probably stuff.
Right.
I mean, I had one of the thrills of my life in London. My favorite team won promotion. They were in the second division, won promotion back to the Premier League. And we were there for that game, Fulham, and we stormed the pitch. We jumped over the barriers and with thousands of people. And I did grass angels laying on the pitch at my favorite place in the world. And it was, and I went over by myself because like my wife has some like physical limitations, and I'm like, should I go? And she's like, you gotta go. I mean, when are you ever going to get the chance to do this? And I'm out there. Right. I turn around and I see her like kind of jogging up to me. I'm like, you jumped over the barrier as well. She's like, I couldn't miss the chance to be with you and watch you up close. I watch her to call back to one of the first things. Like I watch her still carry books around. The look on her face watching my joy is one of the most beautiful things. It's true love. Personified in somebody's face, and I'm going to start crying. So we should probably cut that out. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But maybe I'll be invited back, and we'll do it.
Maybe.
Hopefully next time you'll be actually able to have some root beer and not be cramming.
Yeah, we're going to do a root beer. We're going to do a live root beer tasting. Yes.
Well, that would be awesome. Apparently, I can't bring Saranac, but I'll bring other stuff.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see each other at a Dad 2.0.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah. I would love that.
I know that's a crazy idea.
Or y'all can come to New York and hang out with me. That would be cool. New York's kind of a fun place to visit.
We are talking about coming to New York once we can get COVID to stay relatively low for a long ass time that we know that it's gone. But I don't know about y'all, but the cases are rising here in Wisconsin, and I'm not cool with that, unfortunately. But notice though, once everybody ripped the mask off, it didn't just go away, y'all. So anyway, Jeff, we're not even going to touch that. Last words.
Now for me, I'm just going to say, Jeff, we've been trying this, and unfortunately, my heart got in the way twice. So
your heart just wasn't.
Yeah, it did actually. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Right.
So thankfully we were able to get you on. I wish you were feeling a little better, but hopefully you'll get better quick.
That's my own damn fault. It's my own damn fault. So I'll literally take my medicine and recover.
Yep. Well, thank you, Jeff. If you want to hang around for after show, we got some things to wrap up here. If you want to hang around, great. If not, we understand because you're sick, but we want to thank you. And
thank you, sir.
I was going to tell him to chill out, Doug, but he doesn't chill out. So then that's not even really good advice. But you relax a little bit to recover so you can go back and we can follow you on social media. Where do we find you on social media real quick?
So on Twitter and Instagram, which is where I'm active, it's OWTK. 4 letters. OW.
4 letters. OWTK.
Back in the day. But now it's just OWTK. But yeah, this weekend, little bit of relaxing. We didn't get into the parenting portion of this, but I'm taking my youngest to the Union game tomorrow, and then I'm bringing my oldest up here to go to a play with the actor James McAvoy. who she
Ooh, yeah.
is in a very erotic version of Cyrano de Bergerac.
Oh.
And then we're going to see a band together. And
Yeah, we didn't even get to you in indie bands and indie kids bands. You're not really in that genre anymore because your kids have grown up a little bit, right?
I'm really not. I still curate the annual Kids Music Festival at this wonderful nonprofit space in Philadelphia, Summer Festival in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But I don't write about it, or I'm not like directly involved on a day-to-day basis. But
Right.
next time we talk about the kids and the marriage and the living and the
We don't like to talk too much personal stuff, but if you want to, we don't give a shit, right, Doug?
Yeah, I'm all too happy to talk about personal stuff, so that's good for me.
Yeah, you are. All right, Jeff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
thanks,
Jeff.
Jeff.
We'll talk
Man.
to you soon.
Love you, man. Take care of yourself.
Yes.
Love you guys.
Keep it killing. So, yeah.
Yeah, the plan was like to get him out of here early, but that
We're right. Where did that happen? I mean, look, man, he's so diverse and he's so like, I don't know, like I admire him on that level of like Jeff does all that crazy shit that I wish I could do. Meaning on a level of like, all the things that he gets done in a fucking day. Like I wake up thinking I'm going to be Jeff Bogle. This could be a meme, actually. What I think I'm going to accomplish when I wake up and what I actually accomplish is like me laying in the bed watching
Peaky Blinders all day.
You already know. Anyway, Doug, let's get a review here because apparently we didn't even fit everything in for Jeff, and we didn't talk about our beer, so now it's the time. Usually I let Doug go first, but this time I'm going to steal it. And I'm going to talk about Box O Chocolate. Doug, this one has a chance to get to you because it's not a stupid IPA. I just got it fresh from Vintage. I don't even see a date on here.
Wow.
The lady went to a soccer game, and the soccer team plays right across the street from Vintage. So, of course, it was an opportunity for me to say, hey, pick up some beer. So, Box O Chocolates. It's a chocolate doppelbock.
That sounds delicious.
Fantastic. It was really delicious. The chocolate wasn't overwhelming, overpowering. It actually worked in with the sweetness of your typical doppelbock, which is a malty-ass, big-ass beer. I didn't think I was gonna like it that much, Doug, and I've had it before, but they've dialed this recipe down. It's delish. And then I went the complete other way, which is double pop culture. Hazy double IPA. Pop culture is working drafts. That's their main seller, their main IPA. Of course, it's a hazy, so it's in style at the moment. It was great. I don't really remember it that much though because Jeff is just an entertaining, fascinating guest that just the beers just go down and then the rest of this fucking works out. So, what did you have and what did you enjoy?
So we didn't get to talk about it, and I bought it specifically because Jeff was going to be in the show, but because, like you said, that show kind of took on this whole thing, and I went with Not Your Father's root beer, which is me. It's a malt beverage that's made to taste like a root beer. Jeff would kill me.
Does it have alcohol though?
Yeah, it's 5.9%.
Oh, okay.
The other thing I had was I started with an NA, which is a blonde from Partake, which was very tasty and good, refreshing. Definitely would be like a lawnmower style beer more than anything. That went down super quick and easy and very fast. So this was good. Yes.
Non-alcoholic.
Yeah, that's not it. But I had a beer at dinner, so I didn't want to have 3 more beers because
hey, whatever, man.
Yeah.
No, we don't judge here about beer.
And then the Seven Island Moctezuma Coffee Maple Vanilla Imperial Stout, 12%.
That can
art is excellent. Really thick, like a very thick Imperial Stout. You could get the coffee was actually weirdly not super pronounced, which is weird because usually that's a very, very forward flavor. The maple is actually more than that. The vanilla is very muted, but I like when the vanilla is kind of like an accent as opposed to like the main star, like when it comes to beers. But it's very good. One will do you though. It's 12% and very thick. So yeah.
Cool. Let's see here. I do have to plug this. For y'all who are in Wisconsin, next week we start our Badger Beer Happy Hour, which is a takeoff of our Badger Beer Hour, which is a live stream, like a live video stream like this. This is a Twitter space. So it'll be me, our friend Simon Mechanico from Venture Brewing, and our friend, and our friend, the Wisconsin Beer Baron, Chris Drosner. We will be talking Wisconsin beer and all kinds of news, pretty much piggybacking off the Badger Beer Hour that this happened on Wednesday. So we'll be talking about that. You have access to Simon. You have access to the Beer Baron. For some reason, if you want to talk to me, I'll be there too. But ultimately, I take the third seat with those two. They know vastly more about beer and Wisconsin beer than I do. But again, like they say, man, you are who you surround yourself with, and you also are who your friends are. So I got cool Wisconsin beer friends, and I'm about to show two of them off next week. And if y'all in Milwaukee, check out Donut Don Day. It's Venture Beer's big release of their Donut Don and like 16,000 variants and all kinds of stuff. And grab their coffee. I fucking love their coffee. And yeah, I thought you are what you eat. Well, yeah.
That
that sounds delicious. Donut Don is delicious. Thank you, Daniel, for
thanks everybody for listening.
For looking for upcoming guests. Then I'll check out another plug for Daniel. Check out Watch OK Please. Fun website. I'm sorry, fun podcast about all that shit that we talk about every week, which is streaming fucking shows and HBO Max. And I'm sure Daniel has a take on. Daniel, give us a quick take. I'll show it during the credits. Give us a quick take on what you think about Netflix taking a hit. And now Netflix is like, we're going to cut all you. What do they say? We're going to cut all you password people. I'm like, y'all bitches been talking about that for like forever, and they still haven't done it. Now they lost some stock price, and now they're like, we're gonna do this shit, damn it. Well, stop talking about it, do it. What are you gonna like?
Yeah, guess what you also lose is a lot more views. Like you might keep subscribers, but you will lose views, and the views actually are part of it too. So.
Yeah, but wouldn't they gain? Don't you think they're going to gain some because people are going to get caught off and they'll be like, shit, I need my Netflix because I need to see my Peaky Blinders. Or I need to see my fucking. I need to see my Love is Blind. I didn't finish Love is Blind, dog. And like, you cut people off in the middle of a binge, you're going to want that, aren't they? Or no?
Well, okay, yeah, maybe you might get some, but you know what? There's fucking 5,000 fucking streaming apps now. If you get that, well, I'll fill it with something else. Like literally, there are just. I can't do Netflix. I can watch it. I'm going to tell you, there are going to be some people who be like, fuck this. I can't share. Nope. I'm done. I'm out. There will be people that will do that for sure.
Daniel says that Netflix will take a hit in the short term, but as long as they drop new and engaging content, correct. But people have been ripping that too. And I'm not sure. I just know that HBO Max is putting out some fantastic shit. This I don't know if they just put the Batman out, Doug. Solid show if you're into superhero shit. So HBO Max has that steam, it feels like, behind them. But there's so many good shows on Netflix, though. I don't understand the Netflix hate, if that makes sense.
I don't know.
So many good shows.
There's a lot of good shows on there for sure. I tend to go for the HBO Max stuff only because I prefer drama stuff. And there's a lot more of that sort of content out there. Not that Netflix is it, but they have a lot broader.
They're all over the place.
And that's great for people who like a lot of broad stuff. If I'm going to watch something, generally speaking, like Our Flag Means Death is an outlier for me. I'm not going to watch comedy all that much. I'd rather watch something dark and fucking shit, like mind bending stuff. I love that stuff. So like I will generally gravitate towards that. But everybody has their things they like. So yeah, Netflix has a fucking wide variety of shit you can watch. So yeah.
Strangers ending, Peaky's ending, Ozark's ending, Dan Dinga Fisher. So a lot of the really, really high end, like Doug says, drama things are ending too. So people bitch about like Netflix cancel shit early. I'm not sure about that. Again, I just kind of got into this whole binging thing. You started, Doug, and the pandemic didn't help. But before that, I really didn't binge or watch this much. I was not that I, again, not that you can't parent. I was just saying I was into my boys and into parenting more than I was watching. But now these bitches are like 18 or 16 and 18, and they just want, man, they just want their own time. They just want to do their own thing. So then I don't have to be like all up their ass like I used to be. So, and they don't want that. You know how this goes. It's a flip. It flips. Then you're chasing them, and we're not even trying to get into that. Doug, next week we have our Eddie. Always another fascinating, fantastic, wonderful human being. A guy that does a lot of shit. He's definitely more in his lane though than Jeff. I don't think Jeff believes that he has a lane. Jeff's lane is everything.
No, I think he doesn't want to limit himself to a lane, which is great. Some people
right.
Out, right?
Whereas our boy Art has a lane and he fucking fills it out like a motherfucker. Absolutely. So we'll get into that next week. But yeah, man, watch Peaky Blinders. That shit's great. Anyway, we'll see y'all next week after I do this.